Hi, fourth graders. Yesterday with Mrs. Lanning, you learned how to round to the nearest 10 and nearest 100 when it wasn't the leading digit, when you had other digits and greater place values. Today we're going to learn how to round to the nearest 1,000 when we have greater place values and it's not the leading digit. So let's ask our first question. How many thousands are in 23,848? Well, I know that there's a 3 in the thousands place, but I have to include, just like Miss Lanning taught you yesterday, all of the numbers in front of the 3 as well. So there are 23 thousands in this number. So I'm going to include all of these numbers. Okay. On the number line, we actually write 23,000 because 23 thousands is written like this as its value. So what is one more thousand? 24. On the number line, we write 24,000. I just added one more thousand, so I know the distance between 23,000 and 24,000 is 1,000. This helps me find the halfway. Okay, half of 1,000 is 500, so I have 500 and 500. Okay, so halfway would be 23,000 plus 500 more, and I get 23,500. Okay, now let's put 23,848 on the number line. Way down here, this is 23,500. 23,800 is going to be past that. So which is 23,800 closer to? 23,000 or 24,000? You're right, it's closer to 24,000. Now let's try when we have even larger place values involved. But we're still rounding to the 1,000. 587,375. Round it to the nearest 1,000. So let's ask ourselves how many thousands are in 587,375. Just like the last one, we're going to look at the thousands place. There's 7, but there's also all these other numbers in front of it that we have to include. So we have 587 thousands. Okay, we're going to include all those numbers to the left. And on the number line, if we have 587 thousands, we know that helps us tell us there's a comma that comes behind it. We write its value. So what is one more thousand than 587? 588. But on the number line, we write 588,000, its value. So now let's figure out what's halfway. Well, I have 587,000. I have 588,000. Here I just added one more thousand, so I know the distance between 587,000 and 588,000 is 1,000. Okay, I want to find the halfway, so what's half of 1,000? It's 500 and 500. So if I look for my halfway number, I'm going to say 587,000 plus 500 more is 587,500. Now let's put this number on the number line. 587,375 goes about right here. It's not quite to 587,500, which is in the middle. So when I round, 587,375 is it closer to 587,000 or 588,000? Right, it's almost to the halfway point, but not quite, so we're going to round it to, it's closer to 587,000. Now let's try something a little more challenging. Now we're going to round to the nearest 10,000. So now we're really focusing on that 10,000s place value. So let's round 319,318 to the nearest 10,000. Before we were just looking at this thousands place, but now we are looking at the 10,000s place. So how many 10,000s are in 319,318? So I'm going to look at this one. There's one 10,000, but remember before we have to include everything in front of it. So there are 31 10,000s. We write that on the number line. We have 31 10,000s, and then everything else is a 0. So the value of 31 10,000s is 310,000s. Okay. What's one more 10,000? 32 10,000s. We write that as a value on the number line, okay, which is 320 10,000s. Okay. So let's think of what is halfway. Since I added just one more 10,000, I know that the distance between 310,000 and 320,000 is 10,000. Now I think, what is half of 10,000? Remember, we can kind of think of what is half of 10 is 5. So half of 10,000 is 5,000. So we put 5,000 and 5,000. Now to find my number that's halfway, I'm going to take 310,000, add 5,000 more. So I'm just adding 5,000 to this place value. And I get 315,000. Now let's put 319,318 on the number line. We have 319,000 right here. Okay. I know it's past 315 because 19,000 is bigger than 15,000, and 19,000 is almost to the 20,000. It's real close to 320,000. So I'm going to round 319,318 to 320,000. Let's try one more. We're going to round 627,119 to the nearest 100,000. Remember, we're rounding to the nearest 100, or we're going to round it to the nearest 10,000. Sorry, ignore that part. Okay, how many 10,000s are in 627,198? Okay, we're going to look at that 10,000's place value, the 2. Okay, we're going to include the 2 and everything in front of it. So there are 62 10,000s. We write its value on the number line. 620,000. Okay. Now let's add one more 10,000. Well, one more than 62 is 63. We write that as its value, and it looks like this: 630,000. Okay. So now let's find out what is halfway. Well, I know the distance between 620,000 and 630,000 is 10,000. That 10,000, we just added one more, so that means that it's just one more 10,000 up. Half of 10,000 is 5,000. Okay, if I'm going to add 620,000 plus 5 more thousand, I'll get 625,000. Now let's put 627,198 on the number line. So I have 620,000. This is 625,000. 627 is just right after that. Okay, so it's just past halfway. And remember, once we're halfway, we keep on going. So 627,000 is closer to 630. So now I want you to pause the video, and I want you to get this packet from your Math Pocket that you brought home on Friday. Okay, I want you to hit pause, and I'll give you time to go get that. Okay, let's do some practice together. Okay, I have 193,652. We are going to practice rounding this to all the place values in this number. First, I'm going to round to the nearest 10. I know that when I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I'm going to put a little dot above that, okay, that I include all of these numbers. Because I know I'm including those, I'm going to kind of cover them up and think, am I rounding to the nearest 10? Am I rounding to 50 or 60? That's just one more 10. So am I going to round 193,652 to 193,650 or 660? I know that 52 is closer to 50, so I'm going to include all of these numbers in my number. 193,650. Now I'm going to round to the nearest 100. I know I have to include these when I write my number, but for now I'm just going to cover them up. I'm going to look at rounding to the nearest 100. Is 652 closer to 600, the 100 I'm in, or one more 100? 700. I know that 50 is halfway, so 652 is closer to 700. So I'm going to include all these other numbers, but when I get to my hundreds place, I'm going to round to 700. Okay, so 193,652 rounds to 193,700. Now I'm going to round to the nearest 1,000. So I know I'm going to include these other digits in my number, but for now I'm going to cover it up. I want to know, is 3,652 closer to the 3,000, or is it one closer to the next 1,000, 4,000? I know that 500 is halfway, and I'm past halfway, so I'm going to round it to 4,000. So I'm going to write 194,000 as I round. Okay. Now let's round to the nearest 10,000. kind of cover up that 100,000. I want to know, is 93,652 closer to 90,000, the current 10,000 I'm in, or the next one, which is actually 200,000? Okay. 93,000 is closer to 90,000 than the next 1,000, which is 100,000. So I'm going to keep it at 90,000. So I'm going to keep that 100,000 and then 90,000. So 193,000 is closer to 190,000 than it is to 200,000, which would be the next 100,000. Now let's round to the nearest 100,000. That's easy. We've been doing that. The front leading digit is 193,652 closer to 100,000 or 200,000. Right, it's closer to 200,000. It's almost there. It's more than halfway. Okay, let's do the bottom together. Okay, make sure you're writing along with me. Okay, I'm going to round to this number to the nearest 10, 484,329. So I'm going to cover up those other numbers. I know that I need to include them, but I'm going to cover them up for now. So I want to know, is 29 closer to the 20 or one more 10, 30? Right, it's closer to 30. So I'm going to round 29 to 30. So I'm going to do 484,300. Now I'm going to round these 30. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the nearest 100. I know I had to write those, but right now I'm just focusing on my hundreds. Is 329 closer to 300 or 400? You're right, it's closer to 300. So I know I'm going to round this part of my number to 300, but I have to include these. So it's 484,300. Notice that each time I have to include all the digits in front of it. Okay. Now let's round to the nearest 1,000. I'm going to cover up those other ones. I know I have to include them. I want to think, is 4,329 closer to 4,000 or 5,000? Well, I know that 500 is halfway, so 4,329 is closer to 4,000. So I'm going to round this part of my number to 4,000, but I have to include those other ones. So it's going to round to 484,000. Okay. Now the 10,000. Okay, so I'm going to cover that up. I want to know, is 84,329 closer to 80,000 or 90,000? It's closer to 80 because this is only 4,000 and halfway would be 5,000. So I'm going to include my 100,000s place. I knew that I was going to do this to 80,000, so I'm going to fill the rest of it in. Okay, last is our 100,000s place, and that is our leading digit. So is 484,329 closer to 400,000 or 500,000? Well, this is 50,000, or is 80,000, so I know that 50 is halfway, and this is more than halfway. So I'm going to round to 500,000. Okay. On your own today, you will practice the next 4 problems in your packet. Okay. The next 2 pages. Okay. This packet can be found was in your math pocket. Good luck.